Aye, okay, that's cool. Okay, well, welcome back. Right, so what we're going to discuss now is we're going to get into groups, and when I say groups, probably just pairs because it's too hard to have group activity, you know. So it's probably the person you're sitting beside. So you've selected your own seat, therefore on your own head be it. Now, delineated workflow, okay, to give it its okay, I'll put up the slide about create, market, monetize. Okay, to give you some jumping off points. But what I want you to do, right, is take a sheet of A4 paper or whatever, and I want you to break up a project, and the project is going to be releasing and marketing a record, right? So we've talked about it all already, and what I want you to have down one side is I really should have made a slide for this, but it'll be alright. Okay, now, so I'm going to take end to end. So we're going to take end to end, you know, the whole, and it should take so a year in time, and you're going to take a band or your own piece of work or whatever, you know. This might be immediately relevant. If you don't have an immediately relevant project, then just make something up. But what I want you to have, divide your page in two, and really for those that are doing it correctly, you'll be able to fill a page of activities for every one of these headers: the creation phase, the marketing phase, and the monetization phase, right? And then on the left-hand side, put all the tasks in order of
blindness.
In order of when you think they should be done. Okay? What happens first? Okay? So each task in your list will be dependent on the next. Okay? So for example, if I were creating a website, okay, I can't create a website until I have designed the logo, and I can't create the website until I have bought the URL for it, and I can't create a website unless I've established who the web host is, and I can't have a website unless I have some content to put on there. So I need music to go on the website, okay? So within the marketing phase, having a website launched is incredibly important, but what are the steps that go into making that happen? Now, in project management terms, you know whenever they build a bridge, all right, they don't build a bridge by going, right, oh fuck, here's a load of bricks, we'll put one here in this riverbed, and then we'll get this other one, we'll put it on top. What they actually think about is, they think about the bloke painting the white lines on top of the tarmac when the bridge is finished, and they work it backwards, and it takes about 5 years to build a bridge. So they take everything and step it backwards. Similarly, whenever you're releasing a record or a project or doing an event or anything, you take it from, right, this thing's finished, and then we'll step it back. So you won't be able to do this on a clean piece of paper, right? what I would do within the first 5 minutes, and I'll come walking round, okay? Actually, if you could push yourself to the, I don't mind in there, but you can push yourself to the periphery, you know, so you don't have to step in too much. But just put down all the tasks that you can think of for Band X releasing a CD in Derry and putting it out on the internet, okay? That's your project. Just write them all down and then discuss them between each other and say, is that marketing, is it creation, or is it monetization, is it, you know, making sales? And then take your list and restructure it in a way that's very, very logical and it's stepped your way through. Now, the best thing about this task is that you're only going to get 10 minutes to do it. Make sure we're done? Okay, we're done. All right, thank you very much. Excellent timekeeping. Right. In the beginning, there was creation. Okay. It's actually impossible to do what I asked you to do in 10 minutes because what I hope that, you know, I'm sure you've had a really good stab about it, right?
Yeah.
But what I hope comes out of that exercise, and sometimes I give people it to do in 5 minutes, you know, but it's better in bigger groups, you know, like 6 or 8 people, and they can sort of carve it up. But what you come to realize very quickly is that there's a huge amount of work and a huge amount of steps and tasks that go into doing anything, you know. So we'll discuss those, and I want to move on to what you might, to the last quadrant of what we're talking about today, about how you might develop as business people, and you know, how you can be entrepreneurial and what investors are looking for in the music industry these days. But I do want to dip into this delineated project workflow because I need you to understand, and hopefully you appreciate now, that there are an infinite number of things that need to happen that trigger the next task. And do you all sort of get that? You know, do you understand that planning is absolutely crucial? And all of us would like to bring records and music and songs to market, but often we don't appreciate how much work and how much planning that actually goes into that. And I think the sooner that we realise that, actually the more work that we can do. And you can stack multiple projects on top of each other. So with creation, creating the actual stuff up the back there, what did you have on your list for actually creating the music? You guys? Oh no, just meant these guys here in the, yeah.
Oh, for us?
For you, yeah.
Great.
Sorry, excuse me. Sorry.
Choosing the best songs to market.
Okay.
Getting a demo organised. Record. Playing local gigs.
Oh, okay.
What else? Design the artwork for the cover.
Yeah.
Record live footage.
Yeah.
And we're playing out. What else?
Okay. What about you chaps with creation? What were you guys creating?
Get equipment.
Getting equipment, yeah. Good one. I noticed that no one's rehearsing. You get that, right?
We're too busy rehearsing.
That's it, we're lethal. Go on, chaps, anything else from your list?
Think up ideas for a music video.
Okay. Treatments, that's what that would be called, you know. Treatments for, obviously there's a bit of repetition there, but was there anything extra that you? That's basically it. What about you chaps on the creation phase?
The one with the getting registered over Emerald and that.
Yeah, registrations.
Other than the logo.
Yeah, let's call that design, logo, and branding. Okay. I'll add some other things in here, you know, into the creation phase. Or does anyone else want to add anything before I start? Yeah, go ahead, guys.
Listen to it over and over again, we like
Yeah.
affect it.
Okay.
Booklet?
Money proposal.
Yeah. Financials, absolutely crucial.
Feedback.
Feedback. God, this is great. Really good.
Finance.
Yeah, financials. Yeah, we've got that. Yeah, yeah. Logistics. I'll put in, and logistics is a catch-all for booking studio time. Mixing and mastering. I'll just put that in. Right. Okay, we've got loads there. Right. Anyone else who's got a burning one that they want to add to the list? No. What's that, mate? Yeah, treatments. Yeah, I've called that. All right. So, now, one might think, right, that a project, remember we're talking about linear and three-dimensional, okay? Because it's all changed now. My old music job used to be very linear. I used to create stuff, then I used to spend lots of money marketing it, and then it hopefully would sell it. That's all changed now. And I've shown you that little diagram, the prism, everything built around the cloud, this online cloud. Okay? So, it's a creative continuum, it's a circle. Create, market, and monetize. But at the very inception of the project, at the creation phase, we can already be marketing our project. Why might that be a good idea? Why might it be a good idea to market it before it's even finished yet?
So people
To
want
get
to
ahead.
build up
Time.
anticipation for it.
Build up anticipation, get ahead of the game. What? Say that again? Pressure, so you're actually telling people you're going to do it, so you have to finish it or you look foolish. Expectation drives demand, and somebody else mentioned it there about this word here. Feedback. Feedback being crucial because if you engage an audience at the inception of your project and you're getting feedback and you're listening to your audience and they're sort of tailoring your work to some degree, there's a buy-in there and you're already capturing them in the marketing funnel, and not only are they just aware and giving your project consideration, you're turning them into advocates.
We give you ideas as well.
Give you ideas, right? And the internet is brilliant for all this, right? So let's just talk about this for a second. I need to buy equipment. Where do I go? Absolutely. I'm going to go to where? eBay. Cash G, no, but you know what I mean. So, I'm going to go to eBay. I'm going to use message boards. I'm going to put posts on forums that other musicians populate to say, I need this such and such a guitar. I'm selling this. Okay. Rehearsal rooms, the same. I'll put a poster up in a local shop, maybe rehearsal room required. But better than that is getting engaged with people in local bulletin boards to say, where do you rehearse? I need X amount of time. Treatments for videos, if I wanted to create those. I would put a post on my Facebook page to say, we are in need of treatments for videos. Does anyone know any young or student directors willing to work for free? And bringing them in that way. When it comes to demo recording, song lists and testing and feedback, how might I do that? How might I collate people's feedback? What tool might I use online to use? Absolutely, I could upload my demo recordings to SoundCloud and solicit an opinion on, and you think you're actually proud of it, and you want to garner some interest, put it up on SoundCloud, get that feedback, and people feel involved, and already you're creating that audience dynamic. The same would go for design and logo and branding. You could test things out. What do people think of this? Here are 3 options, 1, 2, and 3. Put them up on Facebook. Have a little poll. Say vote for your favorite one. Why might you want to do that? Why might you ask people to vote for their favorite design?
Ownership.
Yeah, and obviously that which is most popular is more likely to sell. Yeah, absolutely. And the way we used to test our marketing was by having to create 5 different lines of T-shirt, and then after the 10th night we would count up how many we had left of a particular design. And the most popular one would be the one that would advance forward, but that's incredibly costly to do that. Don't need to do that anymore because we could put all 5 T-shirt designs online on Facebook, ask people to choose their favorites, and then just run multiple colorways of that one logo, that one print, that design, and people are really getting what they want, and they feel like they're engaged with the artist, and they feel like because they've got some ownership, they're much more likely to buy it. Live footage and anything really to do with video. Well, where does video end up? If we shoot video of this band, where does it end up? YouTube, absolutely. Okay, why is that good? Why is that important? And how does that help us in our campaign?
first they can see.
Absolutely, it's the first place. Well, I'll return to that.
Yeah, because I saw the video and they got into Metal Hammer.
Yep.
And the video was 500 hits, but when I went into the magazine, it went up to 6,500 within a week.
Absolutely.
So the video, the other song didn't get any hits. It was the one that had the video.
Someone said it, and I don't know, jump in here about YouTube, but why is YouTube incredibly, versus touring, why could one argue that YouTube is more important than touring?
Because it's massive audience.
Your home.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have 40,000 hits on our side. Maybe that.
There you go.
That's only 2 years.
And
Okay.
it costs you a lot of money.
It's not costing you any money to take that van out on the
Yeah.
road, you know?
So,
And so therefore, you think about it, right? Video is absolutely crucial, and it's going to become more and more crucial over the next 10 years as this social layer becomes enhanced. We spend a phenomenal amount of money taking our bands, our projects out on the road, because we know that income is there. You know, I hasten to add, it is there. You can generate income for the right act whenever the audience is there to come see the act play. But we need to get into the way of thinking that video content is actually more valuable than taking the band out live. And now the economy isn't there to return your investment on generating the content, but you'll build audience numbers that way. Okay, so video is crucially important. And I would say to any new young band or like project starting up is simultaneously as you're coming up with the music or the tunes or whatever it is or remixes, have video content to go along with it. 3 reasons. Reason number 1, who owns YouTube? Google. Where is the first place that people look to watch their new favorite band? Google. Okay, and what is more likely to appear in the top page of Google whenever you type in, you know, band X, the Google sponsored, obviously because they own it, YouTube footage, that content. It's incredibly important to Google, so it should be incredibly important to you. Okay, Google really does run search on the internet, so it has to be embraced. And a great video cannot, I'm not demeaning your numbers, those are good numbers, but a fabulously viral video that's really well shot, that has a great treatment and a great idea, can really propel a band and an artist onto the next phase of their career. Now there's this craze for doing cover versions of Rihanna songs and all that. You've probably seen, you type in Nayo and you'll get Nayo's tune, you know, with the actual official, but then hundreds and hundreds of cover versions. Some of those bands, some of those kids have had record deals off the back of it, you know, a la Justin Bieber, you know, not many. But what those kids get is that they get audience association and placement, and they understand Google rankings, and they understand to get heat and attention on their band. You know, a choice cover version by your band playing, you know, a Metallica song or whatever it is, you know, done in an interesting, cool way, will tap into that audience for free, right? You will never get to support Metallica.
How does that work with copyright?
Oh, with copyright? Well,
If you're covering somebody else's song.
yeah. Well, YouTube, do you remember we were talking about YouTube affiliation links? YouTube pay rights holders for every play of their material. However, that does not apply to parody versions. Now, there's a whole test case about this. So currently, a cover version of One by U2, played by some kid, Bono and the Edge, don't get any income from that. So, you know, this is a seat of great debate, and there was a ruling passed about parody versions not being excluded from general copyright law, and that will change. That will change. You know, one will not be able to submit things, I would say, in 5 years' time, unless the correct registrations have been taken place at the back end of YouTube.
Well, could they follow you for it?
Follow me for it?
No, follow the artist themselves for it, no?
No.
You know what I mean? Like, say, if you put something on and it's, you know, but you might be making any money off it, but still, that wouldn't maybe count to them. They'd still maybe try to go after you for it, like.
I know it wouldn't be income worth bothering about. But I think that, you know, as parody versions and people do versions upon versions and create new videos for popular songs and stuff, they're going to have to sort this out. But at the minute, what happens is that you'll notice on YouTube, you know, that record labels have their own channels. So everything that is within that channel that happens within that house, if you like, the rights holders receive the correct income from. And that's the way they're handling it at the moment. But the dark area of outside, the sort of white pages on YouTube, there's no royalty pass-through. Doesn't bother someone like me at an indie, because we want people parodying our artist songs, and this is how you play that, and so I watch you from afar riff on an acoustic guitar. Because the more people that do that, it increases awareness, and awareness leads to advocacy and word of mouth stuff. But for the bigger labels who are interested in just residual income and less worried about creativity, it's a problem for them. But video is crucially important. Registrations were already talked about, but see this revising and making things perfect, and improving your art, right? That's what the internet at its absolute best is for, and it's called crowdsourcing. We give something to the crowd, and we source their opinion on it. And crowdsourcing happens across many, many industries on the internet. For example, code revision. So something like Firefox, which is made by Mozilla, which is an open source organization. So that browser is improved by the crowd incrementally and exponentially. So people chip away at it and say, well, that little bug needs fixing, I'm going to take care of that. And then they package it up and it goes to the code master, and then they release a new version. The same could easily apply for the right sort of act within music, where you open things up to the crowd and people give their opinions on it. You make little tweaks and changes, you put another version back out, and you're improving things constantly. So financials we'll touch on at the very end. We started with finance and we'll end with it, and we'll come back to it, but it's absolutely crucial. Feedback and Facebook is crucial in terms of in the UK and the English speaking world, right? Okay, Facebook rules the social graph. It is the place where people would spend 80% of their time within a certain age demographic. Now, I hasten that it's just in the English speaking world, right? So in the Asian world, there are different Facebooks. There are other networks that these people live on. But regardless of that, the whole notion of feedback and recommendation is crucial to marketing your project. Now, why? Well, let me ask you this question, right? Because actually, I know the answer to this because I was told. To a large corporate organization, what do you think that they are willing to spend in pounds, right? Or a fraction of a pound for a Facebook like on their product? Anybody want to guess?
0.1p or something.
0.1p, anybody else?
Pence, at whatever market you pay for it, they go out there, you pay more in pence. So if your Facebook goes out to 3,500, maybe 60p. But if you put in that the search engine goes out to 35,000 or 350,000, then it could be up to 1.20, 1.50, things like that.
And I'm specifically thinking about me going onto this beverage company's Facebook and liking their product. So it's like a standing start. So say they've got no likes and they want to get to 10,000 likes, how much are they willing to pay you as marketing company X to achieve that for them? The answer is, unbelievably, for one Facebook like, a company is willing to pay £1.50. Right? £1.50, and I know this because I know the marketing manager of Innocent Drinks, the fruit drink, the smoothies, right? And they've recently just concluded this microsite on Facebook, and where they wanted to get to was, say there were 30,000 likes, and they wanted to get to 45,000 likes, and they had that apportion spend to get there, £1.50 per like. That just shows you how valuable likes are, because we're very, very proud of our social graph. We don't like stuff that we don't like, because we don't want anyone else to see us liking stuff that's shit. Because that says something about us. That's how powerful like is in the Facebook social graph. That's how powerful recommendation has become. And that's how important it is to your music and getting your project noticed. So Facebook will be supplanted by another, agency and another social graph. A new Facebook will come along, right? But at the heart of it, this word of mouth recommendation, that's what you need to be almost obsessed with. Is like making sure that your content is so good and so rich and so on the money that people recommend it and people talk to others about it. the old equivalent would have been 20 years ago, the band just being absolutely shit hot on stage, and the bloke nudging the girl, basically saying, these guys are lethal, I'm going to buy a t-shirt. Now that happens at a rate of knots all over the world, three-dimensionally, 24 hours a day, if all your content's great and it's seated in the correct places, and you're firing on all cylinders.
As a matter of note, how much are companies, is it known how much companies are prepared to spend to get dislikes on other companies?
I don't.
Because I know this happens in terms of travel, in terms of TripAdvisor and stuff, where there are marketing companies spend their money to dislike different places so people don't want to stay in them.
Yeah, I think that really gets weeded out by the crowd, though, and I think that, say eBay sellers, right? Say someone has 99.4% recommendation, right? And then you look at the actual bad reviews, because you're worried about maybe buying a mixing desk or something, and say, well, he's had some bad reviews, so what happened there? I think it's very clear, that they've been seeded by others. And I think that's the great thing about the crowd, the voice of the crowd. There's always going to be dissenters, and there's always going to be people who mess with the system. But I think they get weeded out by the greater good.
There's a lot of brave people behind computers.
Oh yeah, absolutely. A lot of brave people behind computers.
Do people still see through the system promoting likes? Like to see through the system promoting things?
I think not, because I think a like is very, very hard to achieve. I don't know what your like habits are like if you use Facebook. It's all these like words, but I would look at maybe 100 items per day on Facebook and maybe like 2 or 3 of them, because I know that other people in my social sphere will see that, and I regard my own recommendation as quite powerful. We all do, and we only want to be associated with stuff that makes us look better, makes us look cleverer, makes us look, interesting in some way. So I think the power of like is huge. But as I said on one of my slides, how do we turn like into love? And that comes into very neatly into our marketing phase. So what were we doing in our market? I don't think we've heard from you guys yet. So do you want to hit me with some of your marketing things that you did?
Yeah, creating awareness using various media, social networking, local press, video.
There's a lot there. So you just said social media. Okay, right. What was the other bits? Gigs?
Local press, radio, live gigs.
Okay, yeah. Anything else?
Facebook fan page.
Yeah.
Advertising with posters, merchandise.
Yeah. Don't worry about that slide. That's fine. What was that? Advertising with what?
Posters, merchandise, social networking.
Yeah. Anything else? Anyone else have anything to add to the marketing space? I didn't have for you chaps just behind there, the green top.
Official website.
Official website, yeah. Anything else?
EP kit.
An electronic press kit, yeah. Anything from your? Yeah, send out.
Like a biography?
Yeah, writing publicity materials.
Buying newspaper ads.
Yeah, newspaper ads.
A discography?
Yeah.
Management.
Yeah. Management. And do we have advertising?
Flyers.
Yeah. Flyers.
Doing support gigs with popular bands.
Very good. Touring. Okay, let's talk about that for a bit. Just check what we're doing for time, because I do want to wrap up with 5 minutes. We're sort of a wee bit over time, but I'll wrap this up. Luke, do you want to have a seat there, young man? Rather than repeat myself, because I do want to just show you a little bit about the money bit and investment, right? All these things, all these functions have an offline and an online capability now. So when we jump into flyers, Okay? Flyering for a show is still tremendously effective, particularly in student communities. You know, if you stand outside a university campus and you pay someone to hand out flyers, you know, as they leave, you know, another show that night, and you're saying, oh, you enjoyed that, you're going to like this. And particularly if there's money off for a free drink or something with that flyer, it's still, you know, that's a very, very sticky and powerful marketing technique. However, what can one do with that artwork that's used on that flyer? One can create a Facebook event with that flyer, and if someone RSVPs to that event, one can then give the voucher to that person who is RSVP'd digitally. Both are effective. One is certainly a lot more measurable than the other. And the Facebook RSVP versus the person retaining their flyer who actually rocks up at Queen's Students' Union and say, I want to get in for a £5 instead of £8 and where's my bottle of WKD, is that we've got that person's name, we know their age, we know what other bands that they like, because we can mine that data once they RSVP. We know where they live, what sex they are, what age they are, what other bands they like, what other events they're attending, and we know their capability of purchasing our product, and we can market to them again. So our RSVP list, if we are lucky enough to get 50 RSVPs for our event, we can actually target them directly for our next event. So if you came to our last gig, here's what we're doing for our super fans. If you come early, you can get this, you can get to meet the band, or you get to buy the merchandise at a reduced rate. So whilst there's an offline and an online version of absolutely everything on that list, the online attribute is incredibly more powerful, you know, by a factor of 10, simply because of the data that lies underneath it. Let's jump into another one, right? Touring and getting support slots. We touched upon this about the cover versions with YouTube and whatnot. That is an incredibly effective marketing tool. If you are a singer-songwriter and you are trying to appeal to an Irish audience, landing a support tour with Paul Brady would be phenomenally good for your career, because you can capture a portion of his audience by selling CDs at the gig after you've played your support slot, and you're tapping into venues that you wouldn't otherwise be able to play in. So instead of playing in front of 50 people, you can play in front of 1,500 people. So that offline version of that is incredibly effective. However, as I previously said, you as an artist playing a killer cover version of one of Paul Brady's songs, tagging it effectively on YouTube, putting it on your Facebook page and adding it to your official site will capture as many, or if not more, fans for your music, and they're more likely, because it's easier for them when they're sitting at home, to spend money with you if you make it easy for them. So you've got affiliate links on your YouTube page. Say, if you like this, here's my album, pre-order it now on iTunes. People don't have money when they go to gigs, right? Here's the great irony. So if you're supporting somebody, you've already paid fucking 26 quid to see fucking Paul Brady. You're not going to spend 8 quid on your shit CD. However, you know, if you're there and the content is good enough, your shit CD suddenly becomes a value proposition to that person sitting behind their terminal or in front of their iPad screen. So in summary then, my job, I've described how my work used to be, and I've given you a touch upon the way that it's headed and what the next 10 years of my life are going to be. Like, become absolutely expert in mastering all these online tools, because they're so important to you, and they're so rich, they're so diverse, and they're so exciting, really. Now, I just want to wrap up by doing a little tiny bit about, we sort of ran out of time, and maybe it's for another day, but about what investors are looking for. Now, at some stage, you'll get to the point in your career where you will build, somebody touched upon it there, building a team and getting management behind you and sort of turning what you love into a real business value proposition. So a manager will come in and invest 50, 80, 100 grand in your project, or a record label will come in. And it's about knowing your own sense of self-worth and being organised and ready enough to accept that investment, right? Because if I turn around to you and say, do you know what, I think that song's lethal, I'm going to give you 150 grand and then we're going to do business together. You would say, thanks very much, where's my check? But would it be 150 grand well spent? No, because you don't know what to spend it on.
Don't you bleed them out first? Make them pay more?
Well, you could bleed them out and make them pay more, but don't forget, if it's a record company, it's your own money you're bleeding them out with, so you're probably better to sign for no money and get some money back from the first CD sold. Depends what you want to do. But my point being is that whenever we're investment ready is the best part in our career, because then everyone will have their moment, right? Everyone will get their moment to shine, but if you're ready to take it, then it'll be that much more effective. So 150 grand spent on somebody who's ready to pop when you're like Ed Sheeran and you're playing in front of 600 people at Norwich Arts Centre is so much better than if you're playing in front of 40 people in the Castle Bar. Okay? So that's incredibly important to be investor ready. And have a vision. Now, this is another out of a little corporate slide. Treat yourself as a company and have a corporate vision for yourself. We're all our own little businesses now. All right? So you need to come out of this course and hit the ground running, guys. You need to come out, learn all the skills that the guys are going to teach you, learn how to use Logic and Cubase and Pro Tools, and learn how to record vocals properly, and you know how to market your music effectively. Listen to all that and study it well, because you've got the opportunity to do it now. But know this, you need to hit the ground running. You need to be making money from day zero when this course finishes. So start working on it now and treat yourself as a business. Be passionate about it, but be pro about it, and have a vision for 3 years down the line about where you want to be. And, you know, you have to have this attitude now. And there's two things about this slide. It's kind of funny, you know. There's one thing is talking about like self-importance as an artist, that we all think we're incredibly important, and we all think that we deserve investment in our ideas, right? Because why else would we be artists or creatives otherwise? If we thought we were shit, we wouldn't do it, right?
Egomaniacs?
Yeah, we're all egomaniacs. All right, so let's call a spade, all right? But the other thing that this slide, why it's the last slide, that it says is that the power has now shifted from the hands of corporates into the hands of independents and independent producers. What the internet has allowed is cottage industries to be able to explode and proliferate, and that there is money to be made at the periphery and at the margins of what is going on in the big recording music industry now. You can set up a business if you treat it in the right way, and you do all your registrations, you take care of everything, you have everything audited and written down, you're producing incredibly good content, and you're marketing it in the correct way. If you do all those things, success won't just come. You know, success will be a natural follow-on from that, because you're listening to the crowd, you're soliciting feedback, you're getting recommendations, you're improving, you're bringing more stuff out. And the power has shifted. It used to be that we all needed to get a record deal or a publishing deal or some sort of investment in our music business project to get on to the next phase. But now we don't have to do that, because the virtue of online is that it's all entirely free. I mean, there's some premium services, but you know, for the main, it's all entirely free, and you definitely get more out of it than you put into it. An hour well spent on Facebook is worth 8 hours in that linear flat style of work. So it's like, it's all to play for. It's a really open playing field, and I'd love, like, in the room, if there were, in 3 or 5 years time, you know, there was another person running a record label like Small Town America in Derry and releasing records and marketing bands and stuff. Because I don't think there's enough of it, and hopefully through some of the things that I do, we do, and that I've said today gives you your own ideas. You've got all my contact details, and have no hesitation in following up with an email or posting on Twitter, and yeah, enjoy the rest of your course, and good luck. Thank you very much. Thanks for the round of applause. And thanks Marty and them and all the staff at the Nerve Centre, and Mervyn too, for facilitating today.
Could you put your email address back up in the system?
Oh, of course I can, yeah.